Now, before you think it's too early, some managers have told us that they start talking January the day after the summer deadline. So 86 days to go until the January window opens, and we're getting a sense of how some clubs will approach the window. Now, Manchester City are calling plans to sign a new right-back due to the impressive performances of Abdul Kadir Kushanov, where the Uzbekistani international, primarily a centre-back, featured at right-back in City's matches against Manchester United, Napoli and Arsenal instead of Rico Lewis. Now, City made a number of significant signings in January 2025, including Kushanov, mainly due to the difficulties they were having in the Premier League last season. And it would likely take a similar situation to force the same level of investment in the squad this upcoming winter window. Right, Leeds United are understood to be monitoring the market for wingers ahead of the January transfer window after a deadline day move for Harry Wilson fell through. Now, nothing has changed regarding the club's admiration for the Fulham player, but Leeds are realistic about their chances of reigniting a deal after Marco Silva said he was confident of agreeing a new contract with the Wales international. Now, Leeds will have to be mindful, like many clubs, of PSR if they do business in January. Managing Director Robbie Evans said after the summer that we are maxing PSR out this season. Right, the league leaders. How about this? David Raya was given an improved contract by Arsenal earlier in the summer. It understood his wages were increased, but the length of the deal until 2028 with the one-year option remained the same as the previous one. It was agreed earlier this year, but not announced by the club, and has been done to reflect his importance to the team. Now, this is an interesting one as well. Arsenal are also understood to have made a similar move with Leandro Trossard's contract earlier this year, improving the Belgian salary, but keeping the length of his deal the same until 2027.
Said Arsenal need a striker. Have they got the right one in Victor Gyökeres?
Well, I personally, I really liked him at Coventry. I thought he was definitely on the route to the Premier League. He obviously ended up going to Sporting Lisbon, where he'd done terrific. He was always bustling, used to go down the sides with pace, held the ball up. His goal scoring was good enough to warrant this move. And I think at Sporting Lisbon he got better. I thought his first couple of games he was quiet, but he's improved a little bit. He's settling into the position. There's a huge responsibility on him because, you know, I think if Arsenal are going to win the league, he needs to get 25 goals and or at least 20. So, you know, there is pressure on him. I think he's handled it reasonably well. I think the jury is slightly out on whether he's going to get those 20 goals.
Very quick word on Jack Grealish. Is he back?
Well, I'm pleased that he's back, you know, at least on the forum of, you know, us talking about him, because he's a special talent and I think he's a great personality too. So, and, you know, it's typical. He gets the man of the match award at Crystal Palace and decides that Adam Morton should have won it, you know, and that's typical kind of comment that he comes up with, and he plays a little bit like that. He's respectful, and I just enjoy watching him. And I think Moisey, it's good for David Moyes to have someone like him like that as well, because Moyes has always had this tag of being a bit conservative. So it's nice that they're in their moment together, and I hope it continues.
I need a yes or no. Should he be in the England squad?
Yeah.
That'll do me. Right. Today we've been asking who's been the signing since 2020. Around 250,000 of you have got involved. We will reveal the results next. See you in a moment.
Right, results time. All day we've been asking who you think is your club's best signing in the 2020s. Our club reporters provided their top three. Boom! Right, here we go. And with your help, we narrowed it down to the top 10. And here are your top three. Over 250,000 of you voted. This is now the top three. In third place, you have voted for Gabriel's £27 million move to Arsenal. In second place, Bruno Fernandes' £67.7 million move to Manchester United from Sporting Lisbon. And drum roll. Awful drum roll. With over 40% of the vote, you have voted the best Premier League signing in the 2020s is Erling Haaland's 51.1 million move from Borussia Dortmund to Manchester City. Right, we have a sit down now.
You come over, Michael.
Yeah.
Right, Haaland. Alan, £51.5 million, 136 goals in 155 games. That's just a no-brainer, isn't it?
I would have thought so. And when you look at that figure now, 51 million, it sounds cheap, doesn't it? So I know, it's just amazing how it moves on the Premier League, the finances. But yeah, for sure, outstanding talent and really at the top of his game right now.
Bruno Fernandes, number 2. Did that raise eyebrows, Mark?
He's been exceptional. How many times have Manchester United had to rely on him late in games, grabs the game by the scruff of the neck, comes up with a goal or an assist or something, or just does something that gets the crowd off their feet? He's been constantly brilliant in so many ways, and he's been one of the very few shining lights this decade, hasn't he? Since he joined in January 2020, he has been exceptional.
Would he be second on your list, Fernandes?
No.
Why not?
There's sometimes in games I think he goes missing, and at United he is that kind of technical player that can go missing. But I think he's done it on too many occasions for me. Then I would like to see him, certainly a better return on my money than he's delivered. But with the kind of voting system you have, Man United fans, they've gone for Fernandes, I think.
They have. They didn't, though, go for Cole Palmer. They went for Gabriel in third, Carve. Does that surprise you?
A little bit. I think, look, Gabriel's incredible defender. Brilliant deal to get him for just £27 million. But Cole Palmer, I think, finished 4th in the vote, I think. But Cole Palmer is somebody who finished 8th in the Ballon d'Or. The only Premier League-based player who finished above him was Mohamed Salah. And he can't be included in this because Liverpool signed him before 2020. So I think you could have made a pretty good case for Cole Palmer being in the top 3. He was voted the best player at the Club World Cup in the summer as well. I would have had Moses Caicedo in there as well.
Yeah.
And I would also have had Jean-Philippe Mateta.
OK, you've got 20 seconds, Michael.
Well,
go on.
Very quickly on Gabriel, I think Arteta has transformed that squad, and the thing with Arsenal now, you could have had, you've got Saliba, Gabriel. They're looking very, very strong indeed ahead of this season.
OK, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. We've had a...
Charlie Austin, good morning to you. Arsenal are top of the league. Are they the best team that you've seen so far this season in the Premier League?
I have to say yes, the way they're all kind of coming together. They've had a couple of setbacks with people being injured. Saka was out for a couple of games. Martin Odegaard hasn't kind of been fortunate in that way. He's been out and then he's missed more than he's played, unfortunately. But as a collective and a squad, they look really solid.
You've talked about this already this season, about Arsenal last season dropping points against clubs you would expect them to win. So have a look at this, because this season they are 5 points better off than they were in those same fixtures last season. Here it is. So is that the key if they're going to win the league? You can see that last season they dropped points. Fair enough, Manchester United and Liverpool, 2 draws away from home are good ones. Forest, Manchester City winning at home, but then losing away at Newcastle. Losing at home to West Ham's a big one. And they're 5 points better off this time out.
But I think as you look at them fixtures there, Tom, anyone part of Arsenal, you'd say go to Man United and you'd want to win the game. You expect to win. Liverpool try not to get beat, and look, they was undone by an unbelievable goal. Beat Nottingham Forest at home. Play Man City at home. Don't get beat. They drew the game. Go to Newcastle, win. Same with West Ham. So in that tally, what you see there, the start is obviously it's probably been expected from the fans and everybody involved in Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, I know we're only 7 games in, but is it better to be leading or chasing at this stage?
I think leading, that's an easy question. I think it's leading. You don't want to be chasing, we'll turn good, we'll come good, it will click in time. You want to get off to a great start, and look, they've put the right foot forward and they're leading at the second international break stage, and it's a fantastic start for them.
They're leading, and in the past it has been noted that Arsenal's squad may well be the strongest in the league, and they're leading already.
I think now you can look at it and you are really going, look, they have got such a strong squad. When people have got injured, they've had easy replacements ready to go. And now building on, going into the games after the international break. Look, they're leading, they're top of the league. They've signed someone that effectively should score 15 to 20 goals for them this season. Then they've got wide players, and then they've got arguably one of the most exciting players that was playing outside of the top six in Eze that they brought in the summer.
Right, let's bring in the fans' view now, because Sky Sports have partnered with Analyses, an app where passionate fans, known as fanlists, share their opinions on their club. If you want to represent your club, scan the QR code here or visit the Sky Sports app for more details. We can speak to Arsenal supporter Harry Symeou now. Good morning to you, Harry. Now, Liverpool have definitely hit a bump in the road. Manchester City, not as convincing as they could be. Is it now or never for your club?
I don't want to say now or never, because that would suggest that, we're never going to be at that top table again. I think that Arsenal are in a great place, and it's because they've been putting the work in for a number of years now, and they've managed to build a squad, as you guys were just touching on, that is capable of challenging, that is capable of hopefully going all the way. But it is still really, really early on. You touched on it there, mate. It's
Harry,
7 games in.
Sorry, I know we're 7 games in and we're going along this point, but we've got to stop getting away from this bit about challenging. You've been challenging for the last 3 years. Now you've built a squad to go and win. To go and win the league. That's the thing. So we can't keep going on about, we can challenge, we've got this squad, we can challenge. You had the squad to challenge now. He's built the squad over the summer to get over the line and go and finish top of the league.
Yeah, and there is expectation around Arsenal right now. That's why Arsenal are currently the favourites to win the Premier League. But you can't take it for granted. Like, surely, Charlie, you've played football. You know that nothing's a given. There's no guarantee that because Arsenal made the signings that they did in the summer, that they're now going to win it. And this idea that Liverpool are out of it, or that Liverpool have slipped off and should no longer be considered favourites by anyone because they're 1 point behind 7 games in, to me is crazy. So I say challenge because I'm respecting the fact that Liverpool have been there and done it. I'm respecting the fact that Manchester City, I think, will be in the equation as well. These are two sides that have gotten over the line. It's not to say that there's no expectation around Arsenal or that we shouldn't go and win it. It's simply to pay respect to those around us that are also capable of going on and winning it, and have also shown that they can do it already. That's all it is.
So now you've built the squad to get over the line. I know you said Liverpool, Man City have got over the line, but now you're saying, as an Arsenal fan, and a lot of people from the outside in are saying the squad is there to get over the line.
Yeah, it is. And if Arsenal don't get over the line this year, then it will be seen as a failure, because this is something that we've been building towards for a long, long time. And this is probably the first time in ages that Arsenal have been the favourites. Let's not forget that during the summer, people were saying that Liverpool had the best window. Liverpool had spent around £400 million, bought the best striker in the league, bought Florian Wirtz in, whatever. And I just find it amazing how flip-flop everybody is and how the whole narrative can change.
That's because of the start, mate. That's because of the start, isn't it? Like the way that they're Florian Wirtz and Saka started and haven't hit the heights that I guess everybody thought they would. And then all of a sudden everyone flips the narrative of like, Arsenal have had the best summer, when we spent 3-4 months constantly going on about, Liverpool had a phenomenal summer.
But that's just knee-jerk analysis, isn't it? Because ultimately, Liverpool are only going to get better. If we're talking about them having a questionable start because, some of those new players haven't embedded in yet, because they're having a bit of a transition under Arne Slot now, because remember, last summer, he didn't do that much business, then that's working on the assumption that they're going to get better. So I don't think it's wrong for Arsenal fans to be sitting there going, we do have the squad and we expect, hopefully to get over the line after all the years of work that we've put in. But I don't think it's wrong to still be wary of Liverpool or Manchester City or anybody else for that matter that has the capabilities of going on and winning it. It's not, people sort of protecting Arsenal or preempting failure. No, it's simply understanding the level of this competition. And last year, we thought we had a great chance, and we went into the season and we were rocked by injuries, left, right and centre, and our chances faded away. We've been through that. We know what can happen if things don't go your way. So it's just a cautiousness that I think we need to apply. Guess what? Because we're 7 games into the season. It's crazy.
You talk about players betting in, though, at Liverpool. What about Victor Gyökeres? It's 6 games without a goal, and that was the one position that every Arsenal fan and, every football fan knew that Arsenal needed to strengthen. How much time are you going to give him to gel, or do you take him out?
I don't even think there's a conversation to be had about Victor Gyökeres at this moment in time. He scored 3 goals in his 7 Premier League games so far. I thought that when he came from Portugal, looking at his numbers there, that wouldn't quite translate, that he might be a 1-in-2 man, and he's half a goal away from being a 1-in-2 man so far this season in the Premier League. So I think that if you watch Arsenal closely, you know, if you're going to the games and you're sort of watching him off the ball a lot, you'll see that he's putting in incredible levels of work. He's battling, he's fighting, he's running channels, he's creating spaces for others. You know, and also when he was brought in, I'd imagine that for Arsenal, they did it not too worried about his kind of transitional period because of the fact that Kai Havertz would have been there to share that burden with him, share the workload, hopefully chip in with some goals. And he hasn't had that. The performance against West Ham, I think you could argue was a bit of a drop-off versus what we saw against Olympiacos and Newcastle before that. But I'd say that was the 3rd game he played in 7 days, and with the inability to rotate in that specific area right now, you know, he's worked incredibly hard. So for me, I think as Arsenal fans, we got to push back on this. You know, do we take Victor Gyökeres out stuff just a few games into the season? You know, if we're giving Florian Wirtz lots of time and we're giving Alexander Isak time to get fit and up to speed, who's been in this league already, then why does the Gyökeres conversation have to lead to, you know, is he the right fit? Do we take him out, etc.? We don't have a choice right now. There's no other striker at Arsenal.
Well, Charlie, you'd said that Victor Gyökeres would be the difference for Arsenal against the clubs that Arsenal should be beating. But again, Harry's just brought up the fact that West Ham, it didn't really work out for him. I'm just looking at the next few games when we talk about this. In the league, this is Fulham away, ahead of the next international break, Palace at home, Burnley away, Sunderland away before the next international break. Is this where we see the best of Gyökeres?
Probably. This is where we're sitting. This is what. But arguably, though, when I say it like tongue in cheek, is that's what Arsenal fans wanted the number 9 for. That's what Arsenal brought him in, right, to get him over the line and be someone to be the game changer. Where in them games where they've dropped points easily throughout the season. The more I look at it now, to be honest with you, is I still stand by what I said before a ball was even kicked. Like, let's not forget he did score 2 against Leeds as well. So we can, as much as we say 3 and 7 or whatever it is, 1 in 6. And however the way you look at it with stats wise, you can put it as a positive or a negative. Like, I think for the next 4 games is where he needs to shine and be the difference and add to his goal tally. And I know you're going about not being something that he'll look at or the club will wear it. But let me tell you, as a centre forward, you are the most selfish person on the pitch. And you worry about your personal numbers. Like, forget the narrative on the fans and it's about the team and this, that and the other. At the end of the season, personal pride comes into it for a striker, looks at his numbers at the end. Because that's what the answers are. That's the questions that goes towards him on that.
And Harry, with those next 4 Premier League fixtures, how disappointed will you be if you are not still top of the Premier League at the next international break? Just to reiterate, Fulham away, Crystal Palace at home, Burnley away and Sunderland away. I know only one of them is at home, but if Arsenal are going to win the title, they need to win against Fulham, Burnley and Sunderland, even though they're away.
Yeah, they're games that you have to win on paper, absolutely. But again, we know the Premier League isn't always that straightforward. It's not always that cut and dry. That's why it's the best league in the world. So, you know, yeah, we'll be disappointed if we're not top of the table come that point. But just to circle back on Charlie's point about Victor Gyökeres as well, you're right. Of course, a centre forward wants to score goals. You know that better than I do. But I think he is having an impact in games. And where I said it didn't really work out against West Ham, it didn't work out in terms of hitting the back of the net himself. But the spaces he created, the room he created for other people, it was really, really important. And I just think in the modern game where you come up against low blocks so often, right, as a centre forward, there will be times when you're isolated and you got to be patient. And I don't like the idea of people getting onto his back this early. I think it's crazy. The numbers, yes, okay, you can package them up whatever way you want, but I think numbers only analysis is lazy. And so I'm doing that back.
I'll tell you one thing he'd be annoyed about, Harry. I'll tell you one thing he'd be annoyed about is that Saka took the penalty and he didn't.
100%, but he's a striker.
But there you go, most selfish person on the pitch, aren't we? That's why centre forwards, that's why they get paid the big money, because they're the most selfish people on the pitch.
In general, do players choose who take the penalties, or does the manager tell you, in general?
The manager says, but ultimately it comes down to players' decision and the player kind of takes it. And to be fair, Saka's taken the penalties now for what, 3-4 years? And his penalty record speaks for itself.
Good to hear. Fair enough.
There's always been a split. Sometimes Saka takes him, sometimes Odegaard takes him. Saka was celebrating a milestone game. He wanted to get that 100th goal contribution in the Premier League. I can understand it. But you're right, Gyökeres wouldn't have liked it.
And Harry, with Odegaard, injured again. How concerned are you for that? We've all said about how good Arsenal's squad is, but still losing Martin Odegaard would still be a massive blow.
Yeah, for sure. He's the club captain. He's really important to the way we play. The game against Olympiacos last Wednesday was a real sign of him starting to form a relationship with Gyökeres, finding him in those channels nice and early at sort of multiple times during the game. It is a disappointment, but I'm not massively worried because they're sort of impact injuries. First, it was the shoulder. He fell on it awkwardly. It happened the second time, same problem. And now, obviously, a clash of knees has led to this MCL injury. But again, it's not like it's a muscular problem that I fear is going to constantly recur. So for that reason, I'm a little bit more relaxed about it than maybe others. And we've got the depth now to cover it.
In terms of you are at the top, we've talked about that. How confident are you that these players can handle leading from the front? Because you'll be reminded of it every day on this programme.
William Saliba opens up on Arsenal frustrations and his mission to win trophies. William Saliba has officially committed his long-term future to Arsenal, signing a new 5-year contract and turning down interest from European giants like Real Madrid. But for the French defender, this decision wasn't just about loyalty, it was about unfinished business. Speaking candidly about his journey so far with the Gunners, Saliba made it clear, he's not satisfied yet. Despite his rising status as one of the Premier League's top centre-backs, he hasn't lifted the kind of silverware that truly defines a legacy. He, Trent Alexander-Arnold, won some titles with Liverpool, Saliba said, when asked why he stayed at Arsenal despite Real Madrid's interest. Me? I haven't won anything here yet, just the Community Shield. That's not enough. I haven't done anything to feel like I should leave. I want to win trophies here. A lot of them. This level of honesty is rare and refreshing. Saliba's hunger reflects the mood of the squad and the expectations of the fans. And it's a mindset that manager Mikel Arteta deeply values. It's great news for the club, Arteta said of the contract extension. Willie deserves this. His impact on the team has been phenomenal. We're building something special, and he's a key part of that foundation. Saliba also confirmed he's now fully recovered from the ankle injury that briefly interrupted his season. As Arsenal prepares for their Champions League clash against Olympiacos, he's clear about what needs to happen next. The club's long trophy drought has to end. I've been here for 3 years, and every time we finish second, it stings, he admitted. You go on vacation, but you're not really celebrating. You're thinking about what could have been. It doesn't feel right. Saliba's frustration isn't only about missed trophies. His path to becoming a starter at Arsenal wasn't smooth. After signing from Saint-Étienne in 2019, he spent the better part of 2 years on loan, including a spell at Nice that, at the time, left him questioning everything. When I arrived in 2020, I didn't play for 6 months. Then I was loaned out. Of course, I had doubts. I wondered if I'd ever play for this club, he said. But I told myself I couldn't leave without trying. Even when I was training with the under-21s, I kept working. When they told me in December it was best to go on loan, I was angry. I needed to play. But I never gave up. I went, I played, I came back, and I proved I could start. I'm proud of that. It shows you should never quit. That resilience, the refusal to walk away even when the odds were stacked against him, has shaped the player and the man Saliba is today. It's also what makes his connection to the club feel so personal. His love for Arsenal started long before he ever wore the shirt. Growing up in France, it was Thierry Henry, a club legend and Saliba's childhood hero, who made Arsenal feel like home, even from afar. My first Arsenal jersey had Henry on the back, he recalled. He was incredible to watch. Being French and seeing someone like him at a club like Arsenal, it inspired me. I was young, but I remember watching clips, especially that Champions League final in 2006 against Barcelona. That stayed with me. Now, Saliba isn't just wearing the same colours as his idol, he's trying to carry on that legacy. His admiration for Henry became motivation. His loyalty to Arsenal is about more than a contract. It's about identity, pride, and ambition. Despite heavy links to top European clubs, including Real Madrid, Saliba insists he never seriously considered leaving. To be honest, I wasn't really focused on the outside interest, he said. I was focused on staying here. I knew I wanted to be part of this project for years to come. So I'm happy. I'm proud to sign a new contract and keep going. And he's not the only one feeling the pressure to deliver. Mikel Arteta knows that expectations have changed. From the moment I took the job, "I knew I wanted to win big trophies here," Arteta said. "That's the standard. That's the ambition. No one needs to remind us of that. It's what we expect from ourselves. Excuses have never been part of my mindset." As Arsenal prepares for another shot at glory, both domestically and in Europe, Saliba stands at the heart of it all, stronger, more determined, and more connected than ever to the club he now proudly calls home. Saliba's commitment arrives at a crucial time for Arsenal. After back-to-back seasons of falling just short in the Premier League title race, the pressure to finally convert progress into silverware is at an all-time high. His decision to stay signals not just belief in the project, but also a call for accountability, both from himself and his teammates. Inside the dressing room, his words have reportedly resonated. According to sources close to the squad, Saliba has emerged as a growing leader, not just through his performances, but in how he's approached the off-season, rehab, and now the new campaign. For a player still only 24 years old, it's a sign of maturity and ambition. The timing of his comments, ahead of a critical Champions League group stage opener, only heightens their impact. Arsenal's return to Europe's top competition last season ended in disappointment, exiting in the quarter-finals. Now, with a more seasoned squad and a stronger defensive core, there's an expectation that they'll go further. For Saliba, that means not only defending with discipline, but setting a tone of seriousness and hunger from the backline forward. Outside the club, his decision to reject Real Madrid has stirred conversation in both England and Spain. Some pundits have framed it as a rare example of a top young talent turning down the allure of Madrid in favour of loyalty and unfinished work. Others see it as a signal that Arsenal, once again, is a destination club, capable of retaining elite talent in their prime, not just developing it. That kind of perception shift matters, particularly as the Gunners continue to compete for high-profile signings and work to maintain the progress made under Mikel Arteta. In many ways, Saliba's choice reinforces the club's vision, a young, competitive core built for sustained success, not short-term fixes. Still, questions remain. Can Arsenal handle the pressure of being favourites? Can they manage the physical and mental demands of chasing a title across multiple fronts? And how much longer will players like Saliba remain patient if the club doesn't deliver the trophies they now publicly crave? For Saliba, at least, the answer is simple. He's staying because he believes it can happen, and that it should happen. "I came back, and I've started almost every game since. I've seen the growth of this team up close. I know what we're capable of," he said. "But we have to prove it. Talking isn't enough." As the season unfolds, all eyes will be on how Saliba and Arsenal respond to that challenge. For now, though, the message is clear. The club's defensive anchor is not just here to stay, he's here to win.